been,
We are back.
it has been a minute.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yes, we are
we were
back.
having. Yeah, it's.
Hello
I was
to
gonna say it wouldn't. Hello to everybody. It wouldn't be, meditate on the some sort of like tech, challenge, and it's not because we're not tech savvy, because we definitely are very
right.
tech savvy people.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
it's definitely
No,
not
it's just
user
that
error.
evidence. It's that evidence that we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, and Satan is
Something.
trying to stop us from doing
I don't
what the
know
Lord
why.
wants
I'm
us
like,
to
there's
do.
a lot of other people that are things that I don't know. Do they have these problems? Is it? It seems like it's centered right in this particular address in Long Beach or in, Victorville. I see
Uh,
all kind of things. Before we got started, I spend, I mean, the majority of my time during the week, or specifically Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, for like
mhm.
to 8 hours a day. It's
Okay.
just like back to back to back. And
Mhm.
what's a trip is that people, when I'm leading a training, I like to give folks what I call a screen break, where,
Okay. Right.
you come in, you do the intro, you go over, what we're going to discuss today, etc. And then at about the 15, 20-minute mark, I can see people's eyes start to, they have their cameras on. If they have their cameras on, I can see
Uh-huh.
a little less activity in the chat, or
Mhm.
you kind of just lose people. And so
Right.
it's giving people a screen break. That's probably the thing that I get the most positive feedback on whenever I do a survey after a training. They're like, we really
Oh,
like that she gives us breaks. Like it felt like
okay.
every just as I tired, turn off your cameras, stand up,
Right.
do a little stretch table a couple of times, go grab yourself a drink, walk back. So so yeah, it's nice to have those. But I see
Right.
we have a couple people here with us.
Oh, good.
You're here. Go ahead and in the chat that you're here
Mm-hmm.
and where you're streaming in from. Since we've seen you guys, I know we've changed some things and we're going to speed on what we're doing. But before we get into that, I just want to see who's here and just
And we
acknowledge
apologize
you.
for the slight delay. Once again, we had a
Oh
little
yeah, absolutely.
technical whatever hurdle
Yeah,
to get over. Bonjour and hello and what's happening and ciao, aloha, uh, uh, salam alaikum, shalom, uh,
you forgot one.
not
Bonagani.
Banagani. Yes. And all of those greetings, we greet you this evening for us is a little bit different, but it's cool.
Yeah,
It's cool.
yeah. It's interesting. I was reviewing. Hello from Victorville. Hello, mom from Victorville. Thank you for letting us know where you're streaming in from. I during our hiatus, spending some time just thinking about going back to why did we start this?
Mhm.
What was our intention? And I recognized as well that we had our tried and true handful of folks that would get up with us on
Mhm.
Saturday morning or tune in
Mhm.
midday on Saturday, depending on where they were tuning in from. And while that love and that participation was really important, wanted to make sure that any sharing is not just being, but
Mhm.
it's actually being put into action.
Right.
And that's another, like, that was something to me about how can we make this practice come to life? How can we take it beyond kind of people sitting back and watching, learning and studying? How can we take it to the next level? Because I think about
Mhm.
anytime that you're learning something new or you're deepening understanding of something, a part of being able to demonstrate that understanding is through actually what are we
Mhm.
doing? How do you apply this stuff? So for those who are, I feel like those who are watching now have seen us, but I'll introduce
Mhm.
I'll introduce we'll introduce ourselves or reintroduce ourselves. My name is Keisean. I am the Calm
Yeah.
Coach. I'm streaming in from Long Beach, California, and this is my dad. And
Yes,
you can.
Coach Rains, OG from Los Angeles, California, by way of Victorville, California, and I am the OG coach. Been coaching
Yes.
for a long time. you know,
Right? Exactly.
coaching, coaching athletics, coaching careers, coaching life, coaching recovery, coaching. I've been doing some coaching on finances, and financial unity and security lately on my
That's good.
Instagram post. But yes,
Yeah.
welcome.
Welcome. So we started in the word during COVID. Well, I should say during the quarantine, because I realized during COVID it's like COVID is like ongoing.
Yeah, it's a flu.
It never really
yeah,
flew. It's
yeah,
not going anywhere. It's part of our
yeah,
experience now. But
exactly.
during the
Yeah, during the
quarantine,
quarantine,
or
that's a better
as
way of defining
some affectionately call it, what the lockdown people call
it. Yeah,
it.
or the
Um,
pandemic.
there you go. So we started it then on Instagram, and it was first it was just a way for us to connect, just to see each other at least once a week, and to have a conversation or a dialogue about things that matter, I would say, to both of us. And then we started putting it on Instagram, and
Yeah.
people tuned in, and they commented, they liked, they tapped the heart button, they hooped and
Mm,
hollered. And then we wanted to make it more accessible to Instagram followers. And bear with me, I'm having some challenges, so if my video pauses, know that I'm
mm,
still here.
mhm,
We moved it over to YouTube and continued. And so every Saturday for 3 years, we came together on YouTube and spent about an hour together in prayer, in conversation, discussion, lesson, and meditation. And then we took a little bit of a break in the summer to just kind of reevaluate some things. I know you, Dad,
mhm.
your Instagram activities they've gone viral. If you guys don't know, my dad has gone viral on Instagram. So will you tell us a little bit about the content that you're sharing on Instagram, and for those who don't know, like a little bit more about that message there?
Um, yeah, well, that the message there, and I was strongly encouraged by my social media management team, to start posting some things on Instagram. So my topic really for the past few months has been um, what's the best way to say it? Unifying for the purpose of developing an economic base or foundation for the Black community. So I've been reading excerpts from Dr. Claude Anderson's books, Black Labor, White Wealth, and then also Powernomics. And again, my goal is just to encourage people to understand the importance of the Black community unifying to create an economic base so that there can be some power, for that group, which I am part of. So that's been kind of the foundation. One of the things that went viral though was weird. I just made a comment about an SNL skit, and said that I just was curious as to whether Colin Jost would have to make an apology, for making a joke about a black Superman. Kind of in reference to Jamie Foxx having to apologize, or Dave Chappelle being put in a position to apologize, or other comedians, of color, or black comedians being made to apologize, for something that they said that was a joke, or it's the way that they felt. So yeah, that was one that went viral. I'm still getting comments. You old ass idiot! You just stupid. You need to close down your Instagram account. What are you talking about? So,
People on the internet are bold. People say things with their thumbs that they would never say out loud
yeah,
to your
it's
face
like,
with
oh
their
my
mouths. Yeah.
goodness. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, but all about
Yeah.
encouragement. I'm gonna spice some things up and add some other topics in, as well. Not that I understand that there are people that are looking, because that's new to me. That process is new. I mean, I'm familiar looking at other people's stuff, but I do see how individuals could get hooked on. Ooh, I got to make sure people like me. It's like, okay. I mean, I guess my concern is that if I want to frame it as concern, I just would believe or trust that you're getting something out of what I'm saying. Okay, so you ain't got to like me. Okay, actually, I that's not a mandate. I want to provoke some thought. if you get mad at what I'm saying, but it provokes you to think about doing something, then it's a win for me. So,
Exactly, which is very much what
mm,
I think we've been able to do with this show and this program is after having conversations with ourselves, conversations with the person and people observing those conversations via the live stream, is they've been thought-provoking conversations. They've been
mm,
lessons. Some may have even felt like a sermon or something along those lines. But I think at the end of it, the hope is that somebody will leave the conversation differently than when they came in. And I think that's what platforms like social media, whether it's YouTube or Instagram or TikTok or Twitch or wherever you are, it's your place to share your message, your voice, find your
right,
community, and mobilize that community or bring your
right,
community into a place of action. So when
right.
people ask, what's different about meditating on the word and what direction are you guys going now? The direction that we're moving in now is we're still going to give you the scriptural insights. We're still going to give you the new thoughts, new application perspectives.
Mhm,
We're still going to engage you in discussions and ask questions and ask for you to participate and get involved maybe a little bit more than you even
mhm,
have in the past. And then we're of
mhm,
course going to give you the guided meditation and the prayer.
mhm,
And specifically around the prayer, my hope is that those who do live stream with us, meaning you do sit down in front of your computer or in front of your device and you watch this live, that you will give us your prayer requests,
mhm,
your hopes, your wishes, your dreams, your big manifestations, the things that you really want to call into your life, because we believe that where two or more are gathered,
mhm,
that
mhm,
there is an elevation, that whatever you're saying is amplified, whatever you're calling in is amplified. And so
mhm.
when the time comes and we do prayer requests, don't be shy. It's okay. You can put them in the comments.
Yeah.
Somebody else out there might be like, I'm going to pray for that person for that same thing, or I'm looking for that
Yes.
same thing. Or
Yes.
sometimes what happens is when you make your prayer requests public,
Mhm,
there might be someone else on the live stream that
mhm.
says, "Oh, I got to answer for that. Here you go.
Right.
You're looking for something. Here's your answer. Here's what you might be looking for." So today we're introducing a theme for the month of September, which something that I think is something we've heard before, inspired by before. When we think about the world, some state of the world, it doesn't necessarily bring up the most positive feelings. So when you think about that, what are some thoughts that come up for you when you think about the state of the world today?
Well, in the famous words of my loving other mother, this place is going downhill. Oh my goodness. Yeah. It's part of it is being a senior citizen now, having walked on the planet for 6 decades. Obviously I see change. I was born at a time that, many would say, and not when I was born, but in my youth, my early youth and adolescence, um, and it's funny how people say stuff, okay. But so with the orange man, with his moniker, his call to make America great again. Okay, yeah, because when I was 9, America was a great place for a 9-year-old to be. Okay, I'm living in a middle class, area. A black kid going to private school. My parents are doing fine. All of my relatives, have homes, and all my friends, everybody's good. Now, that may not have been the case everywhere. I'm sure it wasn't. Because we were coming out, early stages of the civil rights movement and whatnot. But so I say that to say this. So I've seen some good stuff, but then I've also seen a lot of the bad stuff. And I lived through the tragedy of the drug epidemic, of the 80s and 90s and whatnot, and saw how that changed, so many families. And obviously being aware of worldwide politics, growing again as an adult and seeing, okay, there's some stuff going on that this great country that I live in is doing, but they're not telling everybody that they're doing that. So, just seeing a lot. So, and of course, as a follower of Christ, even seeing how um, that, uh, and I'll just use the term, that religion, that belief system, gets used or has been used, and it's through the annals of time. But to witness it, to be part of it, and then see how people are, what? Okay, no, you're bastardizing this. That ain't what being a follower of Christ is. Why you why utilizing it like that? Why you co-opting the faith, and turning it into something else? So yeah, I say it jokingly, about grandma's words, but it's like, wow, okay. And now you could go fundamental Christian on it and say we're in the last days, but we've been in the last days ever since Jesus resurrected. Okay, and that was 2,000 years ago.
I was
So,
gonna say it's been
so
the last days we've been flipping the last days calendar
yeah,
for a
yeah,
while
yeah.
now.
We
So
we got grace that God is saying, okay, 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 okay. I'm gonna
last
give him a little,
again,
give him a
another
little bit more
another
time. I'm
last,
gonna give him
yeah.
one. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, and I like what you said about how certain, I guess, like ideologies from the Christian faith or from the biblical text has been modified. Is how it's been modified to support certain political agendas and so on. And I think that because it has been modified and the way that it's been applied is part of the reason why we see more people, especially younger people, starting to lean away from it and say,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, I don't know if that
Mm-hmm.
means to be a follower of Christ. If that's what it looks like to be a Christian, I don't know that I want to associate with that."
Right.
And what I think they miss is some of the scriptural insights
Mm-hmm.
that I think can be
Mm-hmm.
to change the state of the world.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so our theme for September is we want you to be the change.
Mm-hmm.
We want you to recognize that there's a Buddhist quote that says, "Be the change you wish to see." And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes people think, "Well, be the change. What am I? I'm just one person. What am I going to do? How can I
Right.
just
Right.
me, my little self in my little
Right.
town or my little city, what can I
Right.
do to actually be the change?" And then the
Right.
subtext of that is don't be afraid of the revolution. And
Mm-hmm.
we talked a little bit yesterday in our meeting before today's conversation just about the topic of revolution and what that brings up for people, or even the topic of change and asking people to actually not only just say, man, the world needs to get better.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I hope somebody changes this world, or I hope somebody stands up and takes the lead. I hope somebody else,
Uh, yeah.
like on TikTok, there's a sound that's like,
Yeah.
get somebody else to do it.
Yeah.
So when you think about like being the change, what are some insights that you can share with us? That I know you shared a couple with me offline yesterday, but what are some scriptural insights or some foundational pieces that you think people can lean into when they
Mhm.
think about how they can be in this world, this mad world that we live in?
Well, one thing I would say, to lead into that, to grasping that concept, is to take hold of what revolution means. Because that's something we talked about briefly when especially here in this country, and it's probably in a lot of countries. I was going to say modern industrial, but if you want to call third world, I don't really like that term, but countries that have been dealing with not as rapid a growth industrially as we have here in the United States. Revolution, you have this imagery of, okay, guns and knives and killing and a forcible takeover of something, which that is one definition of revolution. But in essence, revolution just means to change. You can think of a fundamental change in political organizations. Um, but again, that's a concerted effort by a group to change something, whether immediately or over the course of time. Usually, they want it done like sooner than later. Okay, but as individuals, a revolution could just be us as individuals changing our attitudes. Okay, it's a revolutionary thought to not do something that I've traditionally done. And here's the key: because it wasn't helping anybody else. Okay. So now I'm going to do something to help somebody other than myself. So when you think about being the change, I think it's important to first decide. Yeah. Decide whether you want to go with Brother Fred Hampton's quote, I am a revolutionary. Okay. And take hold to that. And then, from that foundation, decide, okay, how do I want to, make change? Where does the change that I want to be? Where does it start? Um, so there's a couple of biblical references, and then we can get back to changing. But real quick, okay. So let me pray. Hallelujah.
Yeah, I was gonna say we ain't gonna give y'all the conversation. Just what do they call that? That's the appetizer. There you go. It's just the appetizer. Just to
Teaser.
let y'all
Yeah, there
know
you go.
the teaser
Yeah, there you
what
go.
we're gonna be getting
There
into
you go.
tonight. So yes,
There
let's
you go.
go ahead and pray.
There you go.
Let's do
There
it.
you go. Heavenly Father, we thank you. Thank you for today. Thank you for waking us up and letting us see a new day. Whatever time our listeners are in, they may be getting prepared to lay their heads down for this evening. Might be bright and early in the morning, but we just thank you for the new day that's coming, or the experiences that we've had already. We give you honor and glory, and we just thank you for providing for all of our needs, the shelter that we have, the amenities we have, the grace that we've been given, to participate in all the different activities that we're able to participate in. Thank you for health and strength. And we lift up those that are under the weather, that aren't feeling so good. And we just trust, Lord God, that your healing hand will be upon them. So during this time that we have together, our prayer is that you use us for your purpose, that the things that we say will be taken to heart. I ask that you till the soil of the hearts of the listeners, so that the seeds that we plant will take root and take hold, and that they'll be able to grow and be able to know, and ultimately be able to show who they are in you, and how their relationship with you has changed their lives, and enable them to be the change that they want to be. So we give you honor and glory, and it's in the name of my Savior Yeshua that I pray.
Ashe.
Hallelujah.
Ashe. Yeah. So I don't want y'all to think we
So
we're gonna pray over you. Just so you know, we switched it
yeah.
up a little bit. We ain't taking that one. So
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah.
Oh, and
So
you
how?
had mentioned too, you're still going to be on track with some things, and you didn't mention it, but yeah, for those of you that may look forward to it, we still will have the ba 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 ba. There's the alert.
Yes, there will definitely be. I was gonna say there will be moments where some people might get a little tight, but it wouldn't be
Yeah,
real. It wouldn't be us if we didn't
yeah,
have those
it's
moments.
gonna
I
be
mean,
all right.
we'll we be yeah,
Yeah,
we are still an independently produced program. So
exactly. Yeah, not no censorship yet.
no
So
sponsors, no censors. Yeah, no sponsors, no censors. Yes. Yeah. I mean,
love the
the
Lord.
reason I asked too is when people think about the life of Yeshua and things that we've shared, especially for those who have been with us for the last couple of years. We've gone
Mm-hmm.
through, I won't say the entire New Testament, but we've gone
Mm-hmm.
through the Gospels. We spent time in
Mm-hmm.
John. We spent time reading the letters of Paul. We spent time even in Proverbs reading prophecies.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we think about a person saying, well, I want to remember the little bracelets that people were wearing in the early 2000s.
Right,
What would Jesus do? Bracelets, and I
right.
guess I guess Jesus, I guess somebody stopped printing them. I don't know what happened, but
Yeah, that's weird. I'm just gonna close my blinds. That's
oh yeah, go
weird
ahead,
how that
bud.
seemed to kind of
Remember,
just like stop. Like what
it
happened?
was a thing. Yeah,
It's like,
remember it was a
you don't want
thing.
to know what
So
Jesus would do anymore. I
I guess we don't want to know. I
don't
guess we
care
don't
what
want to
Jesus would
know.
do. I'm doing
I don't
this.
care. It's too because that's too complicated. I don't know. Jesus might ask me to do something like be nice to people I don't want to be nice to, or speak to people on the elevator, which I think is so weird. I'm curious for those who are watching in the chat. When you get on the elevator, while we're waiting for my dad to come back, when you get on the elevator and there's someone else on the elevator, do you say hello? Or do you stand there awkwardly and look down and act like you can't see them? I just want to know. Let me know in the chat. Do you speak to people on the elevator? And I'm not saying you have to have a lengthy conversation or get all up in their business, but do you say hello on the elevator? Because that's now my it depends. Okay. It depends on what. What does it depend on?
Yes.
Because I live in a building where it requires me to take an elevator to get to the outside every day. Or I can take the stairs, but it's
Uh,
more convenient to take the elevator. And because I live on the top floor, typically when I get on the elevator, there's nobody else on there. So as I'm going down and it stops at different floors, people will get on. And when they get on, because I'm already on there, of course, I'm going to say hello or good
Hmm.
morning or how's it going? And I notice some people are like either surprised that I'm saying hello. Some people seem like genuinely perturbed that I'm saying hello. Like if they're on the phone, I'm not gonna be like, "What's up?" because they're clearly engaged. But yes, curious. So in the chat, we said it depends. My mom said Daria says hello or at least smile. Colin says my mood. But if the person says hi, I'll say hi back. Okay, yeah. I mean, I get it. Sometimes you're not in the mood,
Which
but
is, yeah, I
sometimes.
mean, it's, yeah, it's,
But again, I'm not asking for a full conversation.
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Just an
And
acknowledgement.
yeah, it's, for me, a couple of years ago, probably maybe 4 or 5 years ago. It just hit me one day. And for those of you that are new, when I say, the Lord told me, it's not the trumpets blowing in the sky opening up and, this voice from heaven, oh, my humble son, I have a message for you. It's just that still small voice saying, hey, knucklehead, why are you not speaking to this person that you see getting coffee 2 or 3 times a morning? I mean, a week at AM/PM. Why you can't just say hello? So I heard that message, and I decided, you know what? Yeah, it really doesn't make sense because again, for me, going back to when I was a kid, that was natural. You spoke to everybody. You see some folks driving down the street, and again, for if it was a black person, what's up? You know, and it was interesting because when we went down south for the graduation, it was kind of a kick in the butt, punch in the chest, however you want to say it, an awakening. Because down south in New Orleans and probably a lot of places in the South, that hospitality, just that cordial speaking to strangers, it was like natural. It's like, okay, what the heck is wrong with us in California? Why we can't just speak?
Too
So
Hollywood. We
yeah,
too cool. I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah. It
So yeah,
bothers
that
me
was
sometimes.
that was a warm up question. We're gonna come back to things like that later on,
Yeah,
but that was a warm up
yeah,
question for y'all.
yeah, for
So
sure.
Dad, you were gonna share with us
Mhm,
some.
mhm,
I know you shared some
mhm,
things from Ephesians and Ecclesiastes
mhm,
yesterday, but I have a feeling you
mhm.
probably have some new ones. So
Um,
so let us know, like if somebody needed.
right.
Go ahead, Dad. Go ahead.
Well, obviously, there's lots of scriptures that you can look at, for calls to action and getting up and doing something. You can go back and again. So one thing that we encourage with reading, meditating on the words. A lot of you may have heard of the 2020 principle. Because a lot of us may. You can even go to John 3:16. For God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in Him shall not perish, but will have everlasting life. Boom. Everybody knows that. The dude at the games holds that up. Okay. But what about the verses before that and the verses after? Okay. Because John 3:17, people rarely talk about that
I
because it
don't think
says
I've ever seen that on the
Jesus,
sign.
God didn't send His Son into the world to condemn the world. Okay. But that through His Son, the world might be saved. So you leave that part out,
Yeah, they definitely. I
which
don't
can
think
make,
they held that up.
which could help a lot more people say, oh, okay. So it's not the end of the world if I screw up. See, but people, they leave that out. Whoever they are, they decide to leave that part out. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, so a lot of times we'll just mention a verse or a couple of verses, but we just
Hmm.
encourage people to go and read the before and after to get the
Right.
context, because that's one of the most important things about growing in our understanding of the scriptures. It's important for us to recognize context so that then we can pick out things that's like, okay, yeah, that was probably for those folks that lived on that dirt road in the year 4. Okay, that probably didn't apply to me. Okay, in 2023, and then at least you can have that conversation with the Lord. Okay, you want me to do that too? Okay, but so this first one I have is in coming from the book of James, and James is Yeshua's brother. For those of you that don't know, this book was scripture that's written by the guy that slept in the same bedroom or same cot, with Yeshua, when they were kids. obviously a younger brother. We believe and understand that Yeshua was the firstborn of Mary, and not of Joseph, but Joseph was his stepdad. I don't want to say it. But anyway, James chapter 2, verses 14 through 17 says, "What good is it, dear brothers and sisters, if you say you have faith, but don't show it by your actions? Can that kind of faith save anyone? Suppose you see a brother or sister who has no food or clothing, and you say, goodbye and have a good day. Stay warm and eat well. But then you don't give that person any food or clothing. What good does that do? You know, would you say, well, I'm pray for them. But you just looked at some clothes when you got dressed that morning, said, you know what, I ain't never gonna get back in this stuff. But maybe I will. I'm gonna start
Or
going to
maybe
the
I
gym.
will.
Yeah, but that
Yeah.
stuff is 12 years old. And you stopped wearing it when you could fit it. So, you know, but we need to, to think about putting our faith,
Mm-hmm.
in action, uh, because it's a command. I'll say it's a commandment in
Okay.
that it's a covenant of the heart. Okay, you going back to what you mentioned about what would Jesus do? Okay, it
Mm-hmm.
is a question we need to ask ourselves whether we had the bracelet on or not. That should be imprinted on our hearts if we're
Right.
saying that we are followers of Yeshua, if we're saying we want to live by the scripture. Because bottom line, and we've shared this many times, that's
Mm-hmm.
what being a follower of Christ boils down to. Okay,
Right.
the two great commandments: love God with everything you got, and love your neighbor as yourself. So if
Right.
you were out on the street with a half a shoe, okay, and a one pair of holy pants and three-quarters of a shirt, would you like for somebody to give you even an old holy shirt that was half a shirt
Yeah.
instead of the three-quarters?
Right. Exactly.
Or another shoe, just one shoe, so that you have two shoes on. They don't have to match, but wouldn't you rather have two shoes on than one
Right.
shoe?
Right. And I think people often feel like, and I can't speak for everybody, but I know some I've heard, people say,
Mhm.
well, how is me,
Mhm.
giving shoes to this one,
Mhm.
person experiencing homelessness that I see on a regular basis? How
Mhm.
is that going to be the change? How is that going to
Mhm.
change the world? And I
Right.
think that if every person thinks like that, then it
Mhm.
keeps getting worse and it keeps
Mhm.
staying the way that it is versus
Right.
if
Right.
you, just one person, say, I'm going to apply, what James said. I'm going to apply what, it says in, like you said, hundreds probably of different scriptures about how
Mhm.
to be in right action, how to apply these teaching and these principles. If every
Mhm.
person said, I'm going to take care of one person,
Mhm.
and every person in the world said, I'm going to take care of one person other than
Exactly.
myself, outside of my family, what
Mhm.
would the potential outcome of that be? It would
Yes.
probably be massive
Yes.
change. I think. I
Yeah.
think it would be
Yeah.
massive
No,
change.
it's
Yeah.
it's it's like it's like the butterfly effect. You don't even know, but the essence of you getting out of your cold heartedness and giving to someone who's in need, you have no idea who that could change. Not just that individual, because it might be that individual. See, that individual might have decided today is it. I'm done. I'm jumping off a bridge. I can't. I ain't had no shoes for 2 years or whatever. I'm just done. And people are just cold. I don't even want to be in this world anymore. And you might be the person that saves their life because you gave them some shoes that you were going to throw away. You know, but you decided, I'm going to make the effort to walk, 3 blocks or whatever, instead of walking, 100 yards to the trash can. You just don't know. And I know I experienced it. I have experienced it, in with my children. Okay, with you being one of my children, with my children, um, catching hold of that giving spirit. Seeing their great aunt be a giver. Seeing us, for Thanksgiving when we would go down to LA and, mommy and I would go and buy, whatever, some snacks and whatnot. And going into LA, stopping at Skid Row, okay, and just giving out what we gave out. And I know that's, caught on in your hearts. But who else would other people see that? People with means is like, you know what? You end up asking yourself the question, okay, why am I not doing that? I mean, I got a little extra. Maybe I'll do that. So you never know. It's not only for the person that you're helping, but just it's about being an example. There's I think a conviction that can come from that. Because if you got any kind of righteousness in you, you got to ask yourself a question. Well, why now that woman came, she been asking me for a quarter for the last month. Why didn't I? Okay. That brother gave her $3. Why? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Tomorrow I'm going to do better. So,
And then
but,
realizing that it's so interesting because I think some people think, well, if I give to this person,
mm-hmm,
then what happens when there's two people or then when
mm-hmm,
there's three people? And it's
mm-hmm,
like, okay, so everybody that I know
mm-hmm.
has multiple pairs of shoes,
Right,
has
right, right,
clothing in their closet that still has the tag on it, which tells me that you either don't like it, can't fit
right,
it, or it's out of style.
right,
So
right,
if you don't like it, why do
right.
you have it? If you can't fit it, even if you do get back down to that size, it might not even be your style anymore. And if it's out
Exactly.
of style, unless you're saving it or you're going to start like a costume house for a film company, let it go,
Yeah.
And I think that sometimes people are concerned that if I start giving, then people will expect me to give
Mhm.
more. And what happens if I don't have anything left to give? I don't know that it's possible for you to
Yeah.
run out.
Yeah. Yeah. Us that are blessed with means, that's been one of my prayers for years is, a part of a prayer is, Lord, I want to be a vehicle that wealth can pass through. So if you notice, Lord, if you put millions in my hands, I'm giving a lot of it away. Okay. I'm not trying to hoard it all. So I want to be a vehicle. That way, I mean, millions come through my hands. I know my family's gonna be taken care of. We're gonna have food and shelter and whatnot. And I'm gonna also help other people. So that's another thing that I believe that the Lord sees that you're that person. The Creator will continue to make provision for you. Okay, I need you to be healthy. So I'm gonna help you fight through this, whatever you're dealing with. Because I know tomorrow you're gonna get up with a headache, sneezing anyway to go help somebody. So let me take the headache away at least. Okay. So you can stay out there a little longer. But yeah, if it's understood that we're not gonna be that person, we can't complain,
Right.
about
And
not
then
being this.
we ask ourselves too, why wouldn't you want to be the person
That's
who
yeah, that's
who is the person who's boastful about it? You can
no,
be
no,
modest. You can
exactly.
be the
Yeah.
person. You don't necessarily have to put yourself on Instagram or TikTok and say, "Look at me, I'm helping people."
Mm-hmm.
Like it doesn't
Right,
have to
right,
be
right.
that
For sure. For
unless
sure.
you're looking for more support. And
Yeah.
which we'll
Yeah.
talk about more
Yeah.
a little bit later. But yeah, unless you're looking for support saying, "Hey
Mm-hmm.
guys, I want to be able to help more people. Help me help these people." So
Exactly.
so yeah, okay, so I know you have another one. I know you have another
Yeah. So
scripture.
there's another scriptures from First John. This is chapter 3, verses 16 through 18, and this is the apostle John, the youngest that we understand, the youngest of the apostles. Um, and it says, "We know what real love is because Jesus gave up his life for us. So we also ought to give up our lives for our brothers and sisters. If someone has enough money to live well and sees a brother or sister in need but shows no compassion, how can God's love be in that person? Dear children, let's not merely say that we love each other. Let us show the truth by our actions." So again, I mean, it's one thing to say, I know I love the Lord, Lord loves me, and all is good in my house, and I hope you get yours. We can't operate like that. We got to be willing to, if we have abundance, which again, a lot of us do. I won't say most of us, but a lot of us have abundance. I know, like you mentioned, I know there's clothes in my closet that I've this is probably at least 4 seasons gone by. It's like, okay, brother, you're not gonna wear that shirt anymore. Okay, it's time to give it up. Okay, get rid of it. Same with some shoes and whatnot. But we all have abundance, and if it's not uh, material in clothing or shoes or whatnot, we got some money in our pocket. We got a couple of extra dollars. There was a young lady that was unhoused by the gym the other day, and so I'm there at 4:30, 4:45 in the morning, and this sister's out there, with the shopping basket full of stuff and another little cart. And again, as I was leaving, actually, while I was working out, she walked by, she waved, I waved, and Lord said, okay, hey, you need to help her out. So when I left, I said, okay, I'm gonna go to the store and buy some groceries, okay, and bring them to her. And when I left the gym, the store wasn't open yet, so I went home, got on the computer doing stuff. Like, oh wait, I'm supposed to go get some stuff. So went back to the store, got some fruit and some protein bars and some juice, a bottle of juice, and then I went back to the gym. And so what I thought she was behind the gym. So, and I saw a bunch of stuff there. Looked like, a homeless person was settled there. And I walked up and there's a little wall there. So I didn't walk up on the person because they were covered in blankets and stuff. So I said, hey, little mama, I got some food for you. And the covers moved. And when the covers moved, it wasn't the same person. It was a different young lady. Okay. But I was like, hey, okay, well, praise the Lord. I bought some groceries for you, you know, and it actually looked like it might have been two people under this covering. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe the person I saw was the other person. But the bottom line is my intentions were right, which goes to the scripture. It's what are your intentions? Okay. And are you doing it to be seen? Hey, look what I did. Or are you just being obedient and doing the right thing?
Right.
There's
And
there's 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 another scripture. It's James
mhm.
chapter 4. James chapter 4
Okay.
verse 17 says, "Remember, it is sin to know what you ought to do and then not do it." Okay,
I mean, that seems pretty
and we
straightforward to
talk
me.
about
It's
sin.
like
Yeah, yeah.
seems pretty
We talked
straightforward. It's
about
like
sin
you
before.
know what you're supposed to do and you
Yeah,
don't
exactly.
what you know you're
Yeah.
supposed to do. But if you don't know, then it's different. But if you do
It's different. But if
know,
you know what you're supposed to
it's
do and don't do it, that you accountable for that.
what's
And we
stopping
talked about
you?
sin just being missing the mark. Okay, God made provision to put the
Right.
bow and the arrow in your hand. Okay. And then you intentionally shot the arrow in the ground.
And it's
Okay.
like, what?
No,
Okay,
the target was like 6 feet away.
right in front of you,
So
exactly, or even
yeah,
closer. And I think too, like
yeah.
people, it's. I think that people are afraid, or maybe
Mm-hmm.
afraid is not the right. Maybe people are uncomfortable with the
Mm-hmm.
responsibility of
Mm-hmm.
being the change. I think people are
Oh yeah.
uncomfortable with the expectation because, like you said, whether it's money that you're able
Mm-hmm.
to give and circulate, or material goods that you're able to give and circulate, or even if it's your time. Because,
Mm-hmm.
I remember, in the past where I was experiencing unemployment,
Mm-hmm.
and my elders said, while you're unemployed, you need to find a way to volunteer. You need to find a
Right.
way to go and be of service because you never know what's going to come from that. And
Right.
I always remembered that because I recognized the I'm volunteering around people.
Mm-hmm.
Some of those people I'm around might say, "Hey, we need somebody who can shuffle some papers around and we'll give you money for it," or whatever it was. But
Mm-hmm.
even for a person who says, "Well, I don't know that I have anything material to give,
Mm-hmm.
but there's
Yes.
there's there's 24 hours in the day, I believe, that is
Mm-hmm.
still the clock that we use. And
Yeah.
even if you sleep for 8 of those hours, there's a smooth was mathematically 12 something hours left where you still gonna be awake. And
Right.
so if you start your day and say, "Hey, you know what, today for a couple hours I'm gonna look for a job,
Mm-hmm.
a couple hours I'm gonna go volunteer, couple
Mm-hmm.
hours I'm gonna look for a job again, other couple hours
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna volunteer and I'm gonna take care of myself," because there's countless organizations, especially if you live in major cities like Los Angeles,
Mm-hmm.
there's countless organizations that you can get involved with that
Right.
aren't asking much from you but
No,
for your
no,
time.
for your
That's it.
time, and sometimes it's your time and it's your contribution. Not again, not something tangible, but
Monetary,
it's your
right.
voice, your thoughts.
Yeah.
We talk about the importance of being community minded or civic minded. For the growth and well being of either for our specific communities or for the world. In totality.
Right.
So it's important that we spoke specifically in those two verses or
Mm-hmm.
those several verses, but the two different writers there
Mm-hmm.
about helping those that are in need that have nothing. Okay, but there's folks that have some stuff that need some help. Okay,
That's right.
they may just need to hear that what they've been thinking about doing is a righteous thing, because you agree, you think
Right.
it would be a good idea too for parents, for the fathers in this neighborhood to go to the high school and just show up, okay, and be there at lunchtime, so that these kids see some men that are like, hey, you sure you want to do that? Or hey, how you doing? How's everything? We talked about, getting together. And again, I'm a man. So we talked about men getting together and saying, okay, we're going to the football game next Friday, and we're going intentionally to see what players don't have a father, on the field. And so if you're going with the little guys, who's just here with their mom? Okay. And again, now it takes some effort, to some courage, to have a conversation. Hey, man, your son, he looks like he's doing something out there. Is his dad working or something? I mean, hey, well, then you let it go. So when you hear, well, nah, I'm a single mom, da da da. Hey, you know what? I want to come watch your son. I want to be an encouragement to him. Now, of course, again, this goes with the fact that we don't speak. Okay, so
Absolutely. You have
it's a
to start. You
process.
have to say hello first.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
might
yeah,
have to say,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
right.
It's a process, and that scenario there, again, if the men have the t-shirts to say, hey, I want to help, I want to be a father to the fatherless, okay, I want to be an elder for the community, that's gonna send a message, so that when you say, hey, I want to come cheer your son on, so I'm gonna find out what the schedule is. What's your son's name? Hey, whatever, Jamal, Johnny, Jimmy, whatever. Okay, hey, I'm gonna be here root for him. Do you know? And I don't know. Okay, so you as a mom,
Yeah.
how encouraging would that be for you to hear that some man or some men in the community want to
Mhm.
come and cheer your child on, so.
Especially if you don't have like
Mhm.
brothers or fathers or
Yeah, that's what I'm
uncles
saying.
or other people
Yeah.
around, and the same for the young women, if there's whether it's sports or
Mhm, mhm,
other organizations. I know when we think about, like you said, those in need are
mhm.
not just those who are in severe need of housing and
Yeah,
shelter and
yeah,
food. Those
yeah.
in need are particularly the
Mhm,
youth, I would
mhm.
say, of support,
Yeah,
of guidance, of coaching,
yeah,
of just, I
yeah,
would say,
encouragement.
just
Yeah,
positive influence,
yeah,
encouragement. And I
yeah.
think that, like we were saying earlier, it's when you get on the metro or you get on the
Mhm,
bus or the subway, there's these
mhm.
signs that say, if you see something, say something. And I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that if you see someone, say something,
Mhm. Yeah, say
especially if it's
something.
just
Yeah,
you. And I
yeah.
know that people are often afraid how
Mhm,
someone's going to respond,
mhm,
or I don't want people to think I'm in their
mhm.
business, or I don't want people to think I'm trying to get something from them. And I
Which is
know
so
that
so
it's
silly.
very
Oh my
much,
goodness.
it's silly, but it's a silly thing, but it's also
Yeah.
it's a real, it's
Yeah,
become a
no, that's
real
what I'm saying.
concern.
It's definitely, yeah,
But
it's a real
it's
thing. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but
It's
it's
a
like, but the only way that I think we could start to change that
mhm, mhm.
is, that back in the day they would call it just being like neighborly. Like if you
Yeah.
live
Yeah. Just
in a
be,
big
yeah.
apartment complex and you don't know any of your neighbors until they set a car on fire in the parking garage and everybody got to evacuate, that's a
Yeah.
problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, you should know each other
Yeah.
before there's an emergency, even
It's
if you don't
like
have to
when
be
we
best
live,
friends. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, like when we lived on Grinnell, and a little cul-de-sac in Victorville, and we were the only black family of, I don't know, for 8, 12 homes, maybe 10 or 12 homes or less. And we're the only black family. And I, again, one of those things, the Lord said, you need to just take a cake to everybody. Christmas was coming up or whatnot. So I made a cake and took cakes to everybody, because living in this home for a year that we were purchasing, we weren't renting. Okay. So we ain't having wild, crazy parties or nothing. Um, the people didn't speak. I'd
Right.
be out there cutting the grass and look up and the car's coming and the person driving the car like, what?
And they act like they don't
Okay,
see you.
you not going past this. You live on the street. It's a cul-de-sac.
I'm
Okay, it
gonna
ain't
see
like you
you.
were going someplace else. Okay, so
Exactly.
but I had to do that, and then it started something, because then neighbors would bring us stuff. They'd bring
Yep.
cookies or whatever. So it's like, yes, we got to get back to that. And like I mentioned in the beginning, I guess because I've
Hmm.
lived a long enough life to know
Hmm.
it wasn't always like this. Okay,
It wasn't
so
always
we
like
got to
this.
get back to where at least say, call me whatever you want to call me, at least us. we gotta speak to each other.
Yeah.
We gotta breach that that veneer. It's like, at least say what's up. How you doing?
Yeah.
I don't
At
want nothing
minimum.
from you. Come on
At
now. Do I
minimum.
need to put my hands in my pocket or fold my arms so that are a little more comfortable?
Or more importantly for us too, and it's so funny. This is how you know, like things just be happening. So this morning, I was on a mission to get because I had to set up for a Zoom meeting, and the place where I normally come to work was occupied. So I was trying to find another place on the property where I could go work, and I was on a mission. I had my
Mm-hmm.
earpods on, only in one ear, and I was mobbing, as they say. My backpack was on,
Mm-hmm.
like I gotta go. I'm
Yeah.
in sweat. I'm running late. Oh, we got 5 minutes. Gotta go. And I see this black man pulls up in a car and parks like right in front of me, and I'm just walking. He got out of the car quicker than I expected. He got out of the car and he said, "Good morning." And I said, "Good morning." He said, "How are you?" And I was like, I can't stop to talk to you right now. And
Right.
he said, "How are you?" And I was like,
Oh, okay.
"Okay, I'm good. I'm running late. Just
Right.
thank you for saying good morning.
Yeah.
I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Good to see you. Gotta go. Gotta get on this elevator." And
Yeah.
again, his persistence
Yeah.
was appreciated because I
Okay.
recognized that he wasn't trying to
Right.
disrespect
With,
me. He wasn't trying to
yeah. Yeah.
stir
Wasn't
anything
trying to hit
up.
on you. Right?
He
Yeah.
was just
Yeah.
like, "I know you said good morning. I know you heard that, but I asked how you are, and I'm asking because I
Yeah.
care." This is a black man, probably
Yeah.
around your age, but it
Yeah.
was that
Yeah.
moment of when we think about being the change, and I know we're going
Mm-hmm.
to wrap up in about 10 minutes. Think
Mm-hmm.
about being the change, whether it's applying what you read in biblical text or
Mm-hmm.
it's applying principles of operating in loving kindness and compassion towards others. I think what's most important for people to recognize is that when we operate differently, the
Mm-hmm.
operation changes.
Yes.
Things become,
Yeah.
when
Yes.
we show up differently, the system changes. It
Yeah.
doesn't have a choice but to
It doesn't
change.
have a choice.
It doesn't
Exactly.
have a
It
choice
doesn't
but to
have a
change. In the same
yeah.
way, like you said, if you knew when you were younger that people
Mm-hmm.
were more approachable or people were more
Mm-hmm.
friendly or they were more neighborly or they looked out for one another more, something changed so
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
now people are averting each other. And it was
Mm-hmm.
before the pandemic. The
Yeah. Yeah.
pandemic
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
made it a little worse because now people are
Yeah.
like, "I'm going to die if I talk to you." No, you're not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Say
Yeah.
hello.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have a mask on or whatever, but I think that
Right.
I think that when we think about,
Yeah.
what are some ways, and I want to hear from those who are watching live, what are
Uh-huh.
some ways that those who are watching us live, what are some
Mm-hmm.
ways that you, not us,
Mm-hmm.
but you all can encourage or inspire others to be the change? Or what are some ways that you can be the change in
Mm-hmm.
your world or your, neck of the woods, as
Mm-hmm.
what was that guy, Al Roker, the weatherman, was saying, "Let's see what's happening in your neck of the woods." But and I'm asking that is like, well, how
And
can
that's one of
we?
those. That's one of those phrases that
Is that is how does that
if you
feel?
delve into that thing, it
Should we
probably ain't
not
good
feel
for
comfortable with it? I was gonna say it feels like it's not anything with woods and
and neck.
trees
You
and
know,
neck is not really so.
not good. Not good for us. Yeah.
Yeah,
But what do y'all have to say out there? Anybody?
yeah, I want to know because we what we're going to be doing, when we come together for these conversations is we're going to share our insights with you. We're going to share our experiences with you. And one of the big things, like I mentioned at the beginning, where we're moving now is we need to mobilize. For those
Mhm.
of you who follow my dad on Instagram, he's sharing, written text from different authors that have very strategic plans written into them. And I think if we apply strategic ways
Mhm. Mhm.
to implement these spiritual insights and make
Mhm.
them practically applicable, that's when we'll start to see the
Mhm.
changes. Because otherwise, we're just the people who are sitting back in the sidelines saying they should
Mhm.
do better. It should
Right.
be different.
Right. Right.
We
Right.
can't sit on the
Right.
sideline.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, so let me share this last scripture.
Go ahead,
So
Dad.
again,
Go
it's
ahead.
from the book of James. It's chapter 1, verse 22, and it says, "But don't just listen to God's word. You must do what it says. Otherwise, you're only fooling yourself." Okay, and
There
you're
it
calling
is.
yourself, maybe a follower of Christ or a spiritual person or whatever. Because even if you're not identifying yourself as a follower of Christ, but you're saying I'm spiritual, I mean, to what end? So you're spiritual for what purpose? Just for you, or is it for the betterment of society? I mean, so, and if we're here saying that we're followers of Christ, if we're operating, as spiritual beings, there should be some morality that we want to share. And my charge to those of you, 'cause we talked about giving you guys some task or whatnot, is to speak. Now, that may be difficult for you, but try to practice speaking to other people. Most importantly, to strangers. Don't just be saying hi to your cousin and the next door neighbor you used to go to high school with. Okay, no, okay. Speak to strangers and definitely acknowledge the presence of other people. Like you gave the example of being on the elevator. Okay, somebody gets on the elevator. No, I guess you could do that, but at least say hi to them. Okay, yeah, because it's we got to that's a change that we can make that can help us all grow to a place of where we need to be. Because we ask about what changed.
Yeah.
For me, I gotta say that it was a concerted effort. It's a plot. It's a plan of the deceiver. Divide and conquer. Okay, we need to separate these folks. These folks can't be talking and be congruent and be thinking alike and being nice to each other. No, we want them at each other's throats. So
And then it
just
creates
consider that.
fear as well,
Yeah, for
when,
sure,
and
for
like
sure.
you said,
Sure.
if the call to action is like, if you see someone say something,
Mhm.
and then what I thought about too is to show up for others. Like
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
times when I'm in this co-working space and
Mhm.
there's two entrances, and sometimes one of the doors is a little wonky. It doesn't always work. And if I see
Mhm.
someone trying to scan their way in versus, just
Mhm.
someone who's not supposed to be in here, I'll see them. And as long as I'm not
Mhm.
in a meeting, I'm going to get up
Right.
from where I'm standing. I'm going to go open the door for them. But there's times
Okay.
when
Right.
I've been outside and
Right.
my key's not working. I'm like, I know you see me at this door. So my call to action is show up
Yeah.
for others,
Yeah.
show
Yeah.
up
Yeah. Yeah. For
and
sure. For sure.
understand. Yes, always keep your head on a swivel. Always make sure that you're safe. Of
Right.
course, I
Yeah.
don't necessarily
Sure.
recommend you go into environments alone
Mhm.
at night by yourself.
Right.
If
Hey,
that
y'all. How
happens,
y'all doing? Yeah. Yeah.
probably not the best thing for you. But if there's a
Yeah.
team of you, if
Exactly.
it's you and 8 friends, and you're like, hey, we're here and we're here to show up, but
Mhm.
show others and do so with the understanding that you're reciprocated. It might not be
Mhm.
reciprocated from that person, but it
Right. Right.
will
Right.
be
Right.
reciprocated because
Yeah.
you're putting out that vibration, if you will.
Yeah.
You're putting out that energy. You're putting out that intention that says, I'm willing to show up for strangers, like you said.
Yes.
I'm willing to speak to strangers. Yes, when we said don't talk to strangers, but we ain't kids no more. Okay.
Yeah, we ain't kids. Come on now. Yeah. Yeah. And you kind of, like you said, you can feel the vibration if it's somebody you shouldn't be. And that's the thing. The conviction is it's more often than not somebody that we know we could at least say hello to. But we just, I don't know that person. But no, squash that. We got to kill that. Yeah. And just be cordial.
Exactly. Exactly. So before we go into our meditation to close us out, I do want to open up for anybody if you have any prayer requests or just anything that you just want, need. If you're looking for a job, if you are looking for a home, or if you're just looking for physical healing in your body or in communication in your family or whatever it is, put it in the chat. We will hold on to it with you this week and offer it up in prayer. So I want to give us a moment for that. And then I know that everything is okay. I was getting an alert. It's all good. Okay. Okay. So don't nobody need nothing. Everybody's great. All right. That's fine. I hear people
Praise the
like,
Lord.
I'm good. Praise the Lord. Hallelujah. Everybody's good. Okay. Good to know. We're going to pray for you anyway, in a general sense.
Yes, yes,
All right.
yes.
So I want you to find a comfortable position for your body. And as always, meditation is offered as a gift, as an opportunity to find the quiet and the stillness, find the part of you that will to really absorb what we share in the conversation today, to think about and to feel into what your experience will look like as you choose to be the change that you wish to see in the world instead of back on the sidelines waiting for someone else to do better, that you can choose to do better. So as you find that comfortable seat, you're welcome to close your eyes and start to take a couple deep breaths, breathing in and out through your mouth. Permission in this moment to draw your attention and your awareness within. Returning to your natural rhythm and flow of breath, just in and out only through your nose at your own pace. And taking a moment now to start to visualize yourself as the change. Visualizing yourself as a revolutionary change maker in this world. Seeing yourself stepping outside of your usual, your comfort zone, your norm, and choosing deliberately, purposefully to show up differently than the way you have. Recognizing that as you choose to be, the world responds to you differently. And take a deep breath in and a long breath out. Taking a just to be in the sensation of stillness for just a moment longer. And then when you are gently be in your eyes and coming back into the present moment. All right. So who's ready to be
I
different?
see.
I'm ready. I'm ready to be different. Ready to change. Do you have a
Yes,
song for us
yeah.
today, Dad? Did you have a song for us
Time
today,
is
or is that
now.
next
No,
time?
no, that's no.
Not yet. Next time.
We're working on. But I have a song that all of you know or can sing or can find on
Okay.
Apple or wherever. It's Michael Jackson's "Man in the Mirror." Okay, and I think that's a song that we all have heard, and it's so like so many other timeless songs by various artists. I mean, why not? Why not start to be the change? Why not see that changes need to be made and say, okay, I'm going to be different. Okay, I'm going to be the one. Okay, and then look at the man or woman in the mirror and say, okay, yeah, it's I need to change. Okay, whatever it is for your family, for your own health,
Mm-hmm.
needs for your family, for your coworkers, for us, because we got to come together. We got this political season is coming up. It's going to be what it is, but I think it's time for change, and we need to be that change.
Absolutely. I was talking to someone and they said, I have a friend whose father is a politician, and
Mhm.
anytime we chat and I talk to her about, my concerns about the world, she says, "You need to run for
Mhm.
office." And I said, "Well, see, the thing is, if I run for office, I'll be outspoken about it. I care about my
Yeah, yeah,
I'm going to get elected if I say
yeah,
that.
yeah. And
I
it's
don't
and it's
know.
and it's it's okay. Yeah, it's okay. So yeah, probably like I said, you probably wouldn't get elected, but I think we're at a place where people need to know that okay, there's people that care about your concerns. Okay,
Yes.
and so let's all come together. And it's not about taking over anything, but it's just
Right.
being heard and being
Yeah.
spoken and saying, okay, no, sick and tired of being sick and tired. Okay, so
Yeah.
what was it? The movie Network, mad as hell, and they ain't taking this no more.
Yes.
So
We're there. We have
yes,
arrived at that. It's kind of bizarre to think about that
yeah,
we've gotten where it's a mad, mad world, like you said, the movie, Network, and
mhm.
it's a friend of mine the other day, I said, everything you send to me on social media is about some other reason why I don't want to live here no more. Whether it's
yeah,
mosquitoes spreading
yeah,
disease or the aliens or them growing people and what I was like, man, what are we gonna do? So that's where hopefully these conversations
yeah,
give the listener some hope and some guidance.
yeah,
And again,
yeah.
the intention is for the words one for them to come to life and for them
Yes,
to show through your life. Like you listen to the word, do what it
yeah.
says.
Do
Yeah,
something. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
All
So we
right,
love
y'all.
you
So we
all,
love you.
and we are so thankful that you join us.
Yes.
And so now it'll be 2 weeks.
We'll see
It'll
you in two
be
weeks.
today's the 6th.
So we'll
So
see
we'll
you
see you
back
on the
on the
20th.
20th, the day before mommy's birthday.
20th.
Yep.
Yes,
So,
yes.
and what I'm going to say, a little homework assignment for those who are listening.
Hmm.
If you do decide to put these words into action
Hmm.
and you do want to share it with us,
Yes.
you post it on social media and just tag myself,
By all
tag my
means.
dad,
Yes.
and we
Yeah.
are happy to celebrate your actions along. I'm at
Yes.
Keisean Reigns. My dad is at OG Coach Reigns. We're both on Instagram. Again, you're not doing it for clout, but if you feel led to share and say, hey, I was inspired by what I heard on Meditate on the Word, and I just want to share, we're happy to share that with you because we do want you to put this in action. When we see you in 2 weeks, we're going to ask. We're
Yes.
going to ask to see what you did.
Yes. Did you do your
We're
homework?
gonna ask,
Yes.
did you do your homework? Exactly. Give some options. We said, see someone say something,
Yeah. That's
okay?
right. That's
And
right.
then we
That's right.
said, show up for others. Don't
Yeah.
be afraid to
Well,
show up. Open that door. Hold the door a little bit longer.
yeah.
Get out of the
Yeah.
parking space a little bit faster. Let the person with one grocery cut in front of line if you got a basket full of
Yeah.
groceries, whatever
Yeah.
it is.
Come on, man. Yeah. And for
Yeah.
those of you, and I guess I have to
Go
say to
ahead,
the men,
Dad.
for
Yeah.
those of you men that ain't scared to stick your chest out, if you see a young brother with his pants at his knees, hey, come on, brother, just pull him up a little bit.
Pull them
You
up.
can leave it like that. You ain't got to say, nigga, pull your damn pants up. Just say, come on, brother,
Just
just pull him up a
pull
little
them
bit,
up. Mm-hmm.
okay? Just a
Yep.
little bit.
Just a little
You
bit.
know?
You might need to run. You never know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I got your back, man. Come on, man. I'm looking out for you.
All right,
Uh,
y'all. We'll see you next time.
okay, love y'all.
All right.
Peace.
Peace, everybody.